This is the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show, sponsored by your North Texas Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive.
Hey everybody, hope you have had a great weekend. It is that time again. It is the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show. Yours truly, Joe Trahan, along with the producer extraordinaire, Andrew Cely, the man responsible for putting together the quality sports programming that you're about to jump into, dive into, enjoy.
All right.
Is that too much?
Every time you do this, I feel like you're setting me up every time we do this, just in time for something to crater later on. We'll see what happens.
I'm really not. No, it's great work. It's great fun. And listen, we're gonna enjoy it. And I know you got plenty planned for us. So what's up?
I was gonna say this turned into a great sports day. So let's get right into it with what's on the show.
Here's What's on the Show, sponsored by NFM.
The apocalypse is upon us. Luka Doncic returns to Dallas this week as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, with the Mavs in free fall after a pair of tough losses to the Clippers. We'll take a look at that game and the current Mavs in general. We have a national champion in women's basketball. Paige Beckers and UConn win the national title against South Carolina. We'll break down an emphatic performance, plus a look ahead to tomorrow night's men's title game. And it was a record-breaking day on the ice. More on that specifically coming up in headlines, but it's the return of the top five with a special look at record-breaking handoffs. What do I mean? You'll have to wait and see. Joe, that's what's on the show. Now who's on the show?
All right, we got a couple of our favorites. We've got Nick Angstadt from Locked On Mavericks. He does a fantastic job. He's been following that team every step of the way. We're going to be Maverick heavy, especially early. I love it. You do a fantastic job. And I know it's been hard as of late, my friend. So keep it up. And we got the great Mike Leslie with us as well. We got a ton to chop up, you guys. I mean, there's a lot to get into. And let's just start with, before we get to, Luka coming to town, Nick, I got to start with you. Tough weekend in L.A., huh, bud? I know you weren't there, but for the Mavericks.
Very tough. Just a back-breaking couple of losses. You have the one where they sit Anthony Davis, they sit, Derek Lively, and you say, okay, understandable. The Clippers have played really well. They're the team that's kind of making a run in March. That there's always one team that sort of makes a run at the end of the season, and then all of a sudden they surprise some people in the playoffs. And so the Clippers, you expected a loss there. And then you go, all right, but wait. Wait until Anthony Davis and Derek Lively, and we get PJ Washington in that front court for the first time with those two other guys. It's going to look totally different, baby. And it didn't look any different at all, except for like a quarter and a half. It was such a demoralizing loss for the Mavericks, who are still kind of just holding on. But to look that bad against a team that is not that much higher than you in the standings was very tough.
Well, especially, Mike, coming off, what we saw against Atlanta. And listen, it's a game winner. And it was a little bit of a moment where you got a little bit of a lift. And to have this kind of weekend, just kind of the air goes out of the balloon completely.
Yeah, to Nick's point, I mean, again, you looked at Saturday like, okay, schedule the first of the two games. Schedule loss, not a big deal. Friday night, you're trying to rest some guys that are coming back off injury. We're not going to lose any sleep over that. That happens in the NBA, even down the stretch of a hunt for a playoff spot or a play-in spot and home court in that first play-in game. It's still going to happen in the NBA. But to come out the very next night and completely lay an egg and look like you are utterly non-competitive for a second straight night against a team you very realistically may play in the second play-in game if you're so fortunate to win the first one for the final spot in the postseason. That does not bode well, and not that much has boded well for the Mavs for the last 2 months now, but if there was any sort of groundswell of, hey, maybe this team really can get into the 8-team field, and hey, maybe they can win a game or two against Oklahoma City and give them a little bit of a scare, which we're talking about an Oklahoma City team that might win 70, so probably not. But whatever groundswell of belief that they're started to build, those two games against LA kind of popped the balloon.
All right, so let's look ahead now. And speaking of that Oklahoma City team, today it was the Lakers absolutely putting their boot on their neck. Luka scores 37 boards, 6 assists, complete dominating laugher. And it's like the Luka warm-up for did you call it the Luka-apocalypse?
I didn't give any.
Did you do that on purpose?
I did nothing off the top. I just called it the apocalypse because that's what it feels like regardless.
I think you said Luka-apocalypse.
He's going to try and catch me on something.
Man.
I did nothing. It's what it feels like, though, for sure.
Wow. But at any rate,
yeah.
Here we go. here we go. And what do you think, Andrew? You're off the top.
I mean, just in general, it's funny that we get this groundswell of positivity just before the free fall. And this feels like kicking the Mavs while they're down, about to head into a 10-seed situation, or a 10-seed in the play-ins, excuse me, in that regard. Ultimately, though, I'm more curious to see how the fans are going to absorb this entire situation, whether it'll be pro-Luka, will there be a lot of Lakers jerseys in attendance, will they be not necessarily against the Mavs, but like you've heard a lot of people come out and say it's like we're Luka fans, we're not Mavs fans anymore. How split is that going to be, that arena going to be in that environment? Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I've talked to maybe 1,000 Mavericks fans since the trade happened between at games and online and all that. And it is split where you just have some that have just completely given up their Mavs fandom. We're season ticket holders, we're people that have gone to Mavs games their entire life and have now just given up and gasp are now Lakers fans because they love Luka and have followed his career. And that's something that you just can't replace. It's one of the reasons why this trade was so shocking is that you had built up such a love and built up such a relationship with this athlete for 6 or 7 years now. Even before the draft, people were wanting Luka to come to Dallas. And then you finally got him and then you made it to a finals and all that. And so I think there is going to be a huge swell of support for Luka Doncic. I think the chants and the things that the Mavericks have tried to quell over the last couple of weeks, I think those will come back. We're doing a live show in person the day before, and so I'm really curious to see how the reaction is going to be there to talk to people in person. And so we'll get a ton of reaction from people there and to see how they're feeling. But I think it's just one of those where if the Mavericks are in a better spot, I think it could be a little bit more equal. But because the Mavericks are in such a bad spot, the Lakers are so much higher than them in the standings right now, I think it could get really ugly for the Mavericks.
Let's keep going around the horn. Mike, what do you think?
I expect it to be ugly. I really do. I'm not even sure if it's split at this point with the reactions that I've seen over the course of the last couple of months. I think it's pretty decidedly leaning toward Luka and leaning toward the Lakers in the reaction that we've seen from now, in a lot of cases, former Mavs fans with their reaction to this trade and the aftermath of it. Listen, it would be interesting to see what a simultaneous universe might look like if you hadn't seen Kyrie get hurt and if AD hadn't been hurt for so long and if those two had been able to actually play together and we had seen a little bit of what Nico's vision was for all of this actually play out on the floor. That just never happened. And as a result, this team cratered for a while. They have, as we talked about before, surged a little bit here late in the season, but there was a long time where they were cratering. And it just has taken the air out of this team entirely, and this whatever's left of this fan base entirely. I think you're going to see a lot of bright gold Lakers uniforms in the stands of the AAC, worn by people that 3 months ago identified as Mavs fans.
Joe, I think you're right, Mike. And listen, you stole my thunder because that's been the thunder. Not the worst thing about it. Yeah, not the worst thing about it, but one of the bad things about it is we don't really get to see how this was supposed to look. Right? As a fan, listen, didn't agree with it. Many don't. Many never will and never could. Yeah. But at least let's see what the guy was thinking, right? We get robbed of that. And now, with the Mavericks doing what they did this weekend, any positivity, like we all said, has just gone out the window. So that leads me to the next question. And this is Luka-centric because, listen, I know what those fans are going to do. It is going to be an opportunity for them to vent and show their anger towards the Mavs front office, especially Nico Harrison, right? It's going to be that. But I do also think they are going to go nuts for Luka. They are, and like you said, Mike, they're going to have on, there's going to be a lot of purple and gold in that building on that night. But the other thing is, what do you think Luka's going to do? Because we saw him, he struggled emotionally in that first game against the Mavericks. He was not himself. He wasn't comfortable. He wasn't in sync. He barely could do anything right, to be honest. So I'll ask you, is he going to score 50 on Wednesday night? Nick?
It would be one of those storybook moments if he did, but he has not shot the ball super well except for this game against the Thunder. So he is not on. We have not seen prime peak Luka at this point in the season. So if he's going to, it could be like this game today against the Thunder could have been a warm up into that because he was looking like a guy that could score like that. It is going to be super emotional. And so I am curious to see how Luka is going to respond to that. The last game was in LA. It's a little different. There was not as much of the crowd in it and all that, but I kind of want the emotional, crazy Luka game, right? That would just put such a cap on it and just it would just stick it to Nico Harrison in just such a crazy way. But and I also wonder if Nico will be in attendance, or if he'll be shown, or if he'll be hanging out in his tunnel that we've seen him hang out in the last couple of weeks here. And if he is, and Luka gets any whiff of him at all, like we saw in that Lakers game, then Luka could have some extra motivation there. And we all know what Luka does with extra motivation.
I want blackout Luka. I want blackout Luka, full blackout. Just go blackout, score 50. Mike, what do you think he'll do?
Listen, we have seen at times, the thing that I keep coming back to is that's not really who Luka is when he's at his best. What we saw from him when he played the Mavs for the first time was angry Luka. The way that he was glaring in the direction of the Mavs bench, and certainly at Nico after that early three-pointer, that was Luka playing angry. And there have been times in his career where that's worked for him. But what made him great, what has made him great over the years, is the joy that he plays with. I feel like he's at a higher level when he's playing with joy. He's not Kobe, and I don't mean that to denigrate Luka at all, Kobe went to that Black Mamba level and just wanted to kill you.
Assassin.
That's not really how Luka's wired. So I don't know if this is the perfect dynamic for him to go off and just annihilate the Mavs, because it just doesn't seem like when he plays angry, for the most part. I can think of a couple instances through his career, but that's not really where he's
I was going to say,
like every time he plays
I don't think Gobert feels the same way.
Ask Rudy Gobert about that, yeah. No doubt. All right, listen, it's great stuff. We could talk about that for about 5 hours.
Yeah.
But we got more to talk about. We are going to stick with hoops. We're going to talk about the NCAA tournaments, men's and women's, with particular emphasis on the dancing queen herself, Paige Beckers. That was off the top of the dome. More Ultimate Dallas Sports Show next.
ABBA. Oh, my God.
Today's headlines, sponsored by your North Texas Chevy dealers.
Alexander Ovechkin has taken Wayne Gretzky off the board. The Great 8 supplants the Great 1 at the top of the NHL all-time goal scorers list today with goal number 895 against the Islanders. And Paige Beckers leads number 2 UConn to a dominant 82-59 victory over the defending champions South Carolina in the national championship game. This is title number 12 for head coach Gino Auriemma. It's kind of funny, in the build-up to the game, I kept remembering Caitlin Clark was in this position last year, leading a dynamic team against the South Carolina squad that looked primed for something big. Caitlin wasn't able to get over that hump. Paige sure as heck did today. That was a really impressive performance, Joe.
It was incredibly impressive. And listen, it was the reinstatement of the dominance of that program.
Yes.
Right? And it's all about what Gino Auriemma has put together. And Paige Beckers didn't have to do it by herself.
Correct.
Unlike Caitlin Clark.
Correct.
Right? She got a lot of help. But listen, she's still the head of the snake. And that's why anybody who loves hoop and who loves the Dallas Wings should just be thrilled, because Paige Beckers figures to be the number 1 draft in the WNBA draft, which is a week from Monday. It's right around the corner, and that will just change the game completely for all those WNBA fans who like to check out the Wings. And Nick, from your perspective, I'm curious about what you think a Paige Beckers could do for our local market in terms of fan reaction.
Well, as a season ticket holder, I'm so ecstatic to have Paige Beckers join the Dallas Wings. You already had Alyssa Smith tweet, "It's time," and she tagged Paige Beckers in the tweet today after that game. It's going to be absolutely awesome to see how dynamic she is, how efficient she is shooting the ball, and just the level of stardom she's going to bring and personality she'll bring to the Dallas Wings.
Mike, what do you think?
Listen, I hope it happens. There's been so much conjecture about this for the last several months. It seems like it's going in a good direction. It seems like this is going to actually come together for the Wings, and she's going to come to town. And if she does, I think it's a complete game changer for women's basketball in this state. We have seen the run that TCU went on. We have seen high school basketball in this area on the women's side. On the girls' side has been terrific for a very long time. This, if it indeed does happen, if she comes here, would send it nuclear. It's a huge, huge thing. And her run, again, to you guys' point, she didn't have to do it all herself, especially in the Final Four and in the championship game. But what she did a couple rounds ago was magnificent.
Yeah.
30-point game after 30-point game, a 40-burger in there along the way. She was fantastic. She's very clearly the best player in this draft, and she can fundamentally change women's basketball in North Texas if she comes here.
And I love what she said after the game. She said, "Stand firm." That's kind of her motto. So we got her saying that. We got PJ Washington saying stand on business. Hey, we're just standing up with local hoops. One last thing before we get out of here. We got to talk about the men. And listen, the Houston Cougars have a chance to repay a debt to yours truly. That's 42 years in the making. Phi Slamma Jamma was an absolute heartbreak for a 12-year-old Joe Trahan. Do you think they can do it, Mike Leslie? Can they pull it off, the Cardiac Cougs, one more time?
Buddy, after what they did last night, I'm not betting against them. I mean, listen, Florida's fantastic. They were my pick before the tournament. Walter Clayton is outstanding. So they've got a lot to deal with. But if they can come back from 6 down in the last 35 seconds, what can't they do?
Our resident hoop expert, Nick, give me some good news.
There's some team of destiny on Houston. If they can come back in that game, they can do anything.
I love it. I love it. It's great stuff. Listen, it's going to be great theater, and that's the best part. Andrew, you got Houston
cheering
love
for
or
him.
no?
I'm cheering for him. I'm just not going to bet against Clayton at this point.
No.
He's put some of the shots that kid has ripped off have been incredible. The one move where he just moves around the paint, it was Steph Curry-like, just pulls up behind the three after roaming around for a little bit and nails it. I mean, what he's capable of and what the SEC has done this entire year. Count me crazy. I'm not counting them out by any stretch, but I will be pulling for the Cougars. So
no, listen, I thought Flag was going to be the end of the Cougs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it might be Clayton. But we shall see, and you will see more Ultimate Dallas Sports Show coming your way. Up next, we're going to gamify the show. Yeah, it's time for Andrew to take over. That's coming your way next on the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show.
And now it's time for the top 5.
Welcome back to the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show. Time now for the top 5. And this week we're looking at record-breaking handoffs. Moments in sports that feature once thought impossible records going down and cementing 2 figures together forever in history. Obviously, this comes on the heels of Ovechkin's singular moment today. We'll see if he makes the list. And while our guests get their thoughts together, I'm going to blitz through my list, and we'll get their thoughts after we look at all 5. So we'll kick it off with number 5, Mark Spitz and Michael Phelps. Spitz was symbolic of greatness in a single Olympics for nearly 40 years, winning 7 gold medals in Munich in 1972 until Phelps finally surpassed the mark with 8 in Beijing. Phelps has since nearly tripled his gold medal total, but the two will always be paired in history because of their iconic single Olympic performances. Number 4, LeBron finally summits Mount Kareem on the NBA's all-time points list. Some of the NBA's greatest scorers couldn't take Kareem down. Jordan, Kobe, even Dirk for that matter, until LeBron reached 38,000 points in February of last year. The fact that they were both Lakers and Kareem was in attendance to witness the handoff himself. LeBron hitting a fadeaway jumper for the record. That moment's going to live forever. But the reason why it's 4 and not 3, LeBron wasn't really known as a scorer in the traditional sense. That's why at 3 today, we have Alexander Ovechkin breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time NHL goals record. Gretzky's all-time points record is going to live forever, but Ovechkin taking down at least a portion of what was once thought untouchable at the age of 39 on a once broken leg he suffered earlier this year. It's only fitting that the goals record belongs to someone who is known for scoring goals. The Great 8 weighs in at number 3. At number 2, a shout-out to number 22.
Okay.
In 2002, Emmitt Smith becomes the NFL's all-time leading rusher, surpassing his idol, Walter Payton, a record made even more memorable by a great call from Brad Sham. Move over sweetness, make a place for Emmitt. Although Payton had passed away in '99, he and Smith will be eternally linked. And finally, at number 1, Hank Aaron surpassing Babe Ruth's record. No one in the history of baseball is more synonymous with a home run than Babe Ruth. It's how we all grew up. He was the home run king until Hank Aaron tracked him down 39 years later and hit number 715 at Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. There's so much underlying history here, racial and political, but the moment where he rounds third, pair of fans come to celebrate, iconic moment in a legendary game. Nick, start us off here. What do you think?
Man, it's hard to come away with a qualm on this list. I think you did a good job at this one. I'll look at the Warriors winning 73 games. That was one that got handed off that we just didn't think it was going to get broken again. But other than that, I mean, the NBA one is perfect. The Kareem to LeBron one is the best one in the NBA I can think of.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, listen, when you first flashed up your number 2 with Emmitt and Sweetness, I thought, well, then what is 1? And then you flashed up 1, and yeah, that's 1. So for once, Andrew's right.
What do you mean for once? I got you last week to admit I'm right all the time. Also, part of the reason why it was 2 was because 2002, 22. There was so much 2-ness to it, I couldn't really remove that part of it. Joe, what do you think?
Let me just say this from the beginning. These lists, most of the time, we could just shoot holes through them. I mean, and it's pretty easy, right? You don't have to think a whole lot. But you did it, Andrew. You got to the summit. You reached the mountaintop, bro. That list is fantastic. and the way you unveiled it was fantastic.
All right,
that's
all
good
right.
work, brother. That's good work. I got nothing to say.
I feel almost
can't handle the compliments now.
No, man. Listen, every now and again he hits a home run.
Okay.
He just did.
All right. Let me
Normally
just say
solid
this.
single hitter. He likes to go, every now and again he'll hit a gapper, but that was a home run.
I will follow up and say I've thought about tennis with the kind of Wimbledon handoff from Borg, Sampras to Federer, the Steph Curry going over Reggie Miller for all-time threes. None of them rose to the level that the rest of these guys did. No. And the other thing that kind of came to mind was we didn't have it for Tiger like we thought we were going to. We didn't have it for Serena like we thought we were going to. So so much of this list was interesting to get through just for the moments that we didn't have. And for that reason alone, it was a lot of fun to put together.
More than anything else is that we didn't have reason to give you guff about including swimming. You were even right on that one.
I'll take that one.
That's the most amazing part about the whole thing.
With that, that's all I need. Nick, Mike, thank you so much for joining us today. We're back after this. Joe's Final Take coming up next. I can't believe I got complimented that much on a list. I'm still kind of giddy from it. Either way, Joe's Final Take.
My final take is about the week that is upon us. Of course, it's headlined by Luka Doncic and his return to the AAC. I know that Maverick fans want to make sure they are heard. They're going to make sure that Luka feels the love, and it should be thrilling sports theater. But that's not all. On Thursday, we got the Stars taking on the Winnipeg Jets. It might be their last gasp to try and catch them. And of course, on Thursday as well, Scottie Scheffler, two-time Masters champ, begins his title defense. We'll see if my man Scottie can do it yet again, and that will make for great sports TV, kind of like what you did today. To follow on the theme, there's one more compliment to get you out the door.
Settle down. I'm just excited. This is one of my favorite times of year where everything ramps up and the Masters kind of kicks it off and we get straight into playoff season for basketball and hockey. Cannot wait for all of this.
That is the ultimate Dallas sports show. We can't wait either. Good night, everyone.
This has been the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show, sponsored by your North Texas Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive.